Welcome to a short video that I don't even want to call a tutorial for Roll20, the virtual tabletop. This video is for a few people I play with who do not know how to do macros. So first things first, because some of you don't know how to do this either, you can use brackets instead of /roll, and you get a much smaller output of the same value. You don't need to do this, which takes up way more space for no reason. You can do this, you can label it. It's easy. So we're going to start off with a couple of neat tricks. Let's say you wanted to roll ability scores or some other situation where you need to roll multiple dice and only keep some of them. So you could do 4d6, assuming we're going to do 4d6 drop lowest method. And you could use D for drop lowest, and then 1 to drop the one lowest die. And here we got 12, the 2, which was the lowest, has been dropped. Another way to do it would be keep highest, which is K, and then keep the highest 3, and we dropped the lowest by keeping the highest 3, and the effect is still the same. Additionally, there's also keep lowest, which is, let's say you had to roll with disadvantage. You could do 2d20, KL for keep lowest, and then 1 to keep the lowest 1. And roll the 17 and 9, kept the 9. The last of the basic tricks I have for you is re-rolling specific outputs. So let's say we had to roll a d20 to, I don't know, make an attack or something, and you have an ability that lets you re-roll a natural one time. You would use re-roll, which is R, once, which will be O, and then 1, which is the value that you would re-roll. And I guess that's not a great way to show it. Let's do 100 d20 re-rolling ones. As you can see, if I move it up a bit so you can actually see all of them, all of the ones are doled out in gray because it re-rolls them. So that's all we got for basics for now. Next up is macros. So all you gotta do is go over to this tab up here, which is next to the settings. Hit the add macro button. You can title it. So we're gonna title this one basic attack. And you could do just as if you were typing it into chat. So, D20, let's say we have a +5 to hit. And then we could have damage be like 2d6 plus 7 if it was a great sword, and you had 2d6 plus 6 if it's a great sword and you have like a 4 strength. And then you could specify damage type, and then you could just keep going. Let's say you have multiple attacks due to high base attack bonus. So your first attack would be, say, a 15 to hit. Your second attack would be +10 to hit. And then it would do the same amount of damage, so you just fill that again. And then we can go over to the chat, hit test macro, and look at that, it works perfectly. You can do barriers, you can put regular text in here if it's outside the brackets, and it'll show up. So you could separate your attacks, you could separate portions of your thing. Like, let's say you want to put context notes, it's like, so +3 versus target of smite, and we can have that in there and it'll show up down at the bottom. You could put something like reduce fortification by 25% if you have an ability to do that. And it's easy. You just then you can just hit save. You can put it in the bar. It'll show up down here in the bottom left corner, and you can just hit it every time you need it. Particularly long macros will get split up across multiple messages. As an example, I will pull up some of the macros I have for a character that really needs them. He only makes one attack, but because it's such a high power server and I am high level, there's a lot of stuff. So this is his normal attack. So it starts off with the resources it costs, optional upgrades in there because I only want to make so many macros. I don't want to have 700 of them. I have, how I'm using my move and swift action to augment the attack. All these context notes, like auto confirm criticals against non-mythic creatures that don't miss on natural 1, reduce fortification by 25%, all that stuff. Then we get to the actual attack roll, where I have just here I could actually improve this with the reroll ones once because I have an ability to do that, but it's not really that big of an issue since I already don't miss on them, so it would just give me a better chance to crit from rerolling them. And because I have such a large crit range and I've specified it here, I just have a critical confirmation roll in the macro along with the fortification roll to get past fortification, which I get to roll twice and keep the highest against fortification. So I have here 2d100, keep highest 1. We have my regular damage, the damage from bleed. I have my regular damage specified to what type of damage it is. I have the critical damage if I crit already set up because it's a critical hit build, and some other stuff because my attacks have a saving throw for an extra effect attached to them. The target gets entangled, and I have my wild magic set up because it's also a wild magic build. And this is a very big macro, so I'm just going to space it out a bit here. And it ends up being slightly longer than the chat box on my screen, but it's all just set up. And it's just easy to go there. Now, because the damage is from a ton of different types that are rarely resisted, the person running the game will usually have me total it up. So I'll just put some brackets. So there is in the basic attack, or in the regular damage is 161 of plasma, 187 of untyped. I got 46 on my scout check up there, which if I succeed lets me apply my precision damage. I'm going to assume that would get through just about anything's DC. So I'd add the precision in there, assuming it didn't have more than 75 fortification, which is, I rolled a 54 and I reduced theirs by 25, so that would go through. I would total that up and it'd be regular damage, and then I could total up my bleed damage that I apply, and they'd be able to read it really easily down there. It's close to a wild magic chance there too. But yeah, you can chain these macros together. You can make them as big as you want. You can test them every once in a while. And with the @ and hashtag, with the hashtag, you can put other macros in your macro. And with the @ you can use things if you set your character sheet up. Now, we don't use Roll20 character sheets because they have a tendency to break and corrupt and delete themselves constantly. So we just don't use them. We put our character sheets elsewhere. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff you can do with them. If you are a minion mancer, say, you could have a macro for each minion and what they usually do on their turn. And it'll just save everybody a lot of time. And if you ever need to delete one, you just scroll down in the edit macro and there'll be a delete macro button. You can see here I've got some set up for a monster that does a lot of natural attacks in a session they'll be hosting on Thursday. Or no, this one's the one for tonight, actually. So, you know, notes, all attacks count as magic, adamantine, and silver. It has attack rolls for its claws, hoofs, and wing attacks. And then the damage down here, so it does bludgeoning, slashing for the claws. If both of them hit, it does rend damage, which adds the claw 2 for purposes of DR hardness or whatever, like rend always does. You've got the damage for the hoofs and wings, which is all the same because hoof attacks and wing attacks are basically the same thing in terms of mechanics. You got a snake bite, which has the to hit and the damage in one thing because it's a very basic attack. But then it does poison on top of that as well, which just does strength and dex penalties. Here we have the ram gore attack, which is its horns. It is the most basic. It just has a high crit type thing. It just has high crits. And then, of course, we have the lion bite because it's a chimera. It's got all this stuff. And it's got its attack and damage up there, but it's only one attack. But then it grapples. When it grapples, it gets to make both claw attacks. So it's got the claws in here with rend. It's a real nasty monster. It's gonna be fun if they decide to fight it. It's an optional boss for some optional loot, but it's gonna be good.